Hey Aries, I just pulled cards for you about this massive cosmic shift happening right now, and I need to share what came through because the energy here is absolutely wild. So we all know Uranus has been doing its thing in Taurus for 8 years, shaking up everything from finances to values to security, and now it's finally moving on. But what does this mean for you specifically as an Aries? Let me tell you, the cards have so much to say about this transition and I am genuinely excited about what I'm seeing here. So I shuffled with your energy in mind, thinking about this Uranus shift and what's opening up for Aries during this time. And the first card that came out was the Page of Cups. Now this is fascinating because pages are all about new beginnings and fresh emotional energy, and in Cups we're talking about feelings, creativity, intuition, all of that beautiful receptive energy. What I'm seeing here is that as Uranus leaves Taurus, you're going to experience this incredible opening in your emotional world. For the past 8 years, Uranus has been disrupting your money sector, your values, your sense of stability, right? It's been this constant shake-up in the material realm. But now, as it moves on, there's this space being created for you to actually feel things differently. The Page of Cups is showing me that you're going to start receiving these little intuitive hits, these creative downloads. These moments where you just know something emotionally without having to logic your way through it. And for an Aries, who typically operates on action and instinct rather than deep emotional processing, this is actually pretty significant. I'm seeing that you might start getting messages through dreams, or you'll meet someone who sparks this really gentle, curious kind of connection that feels different from your usual intensity. The Page is youthful energy, so there's this sense of approaching your emotional life with fresh eyes, like you're learning a new language. After 8 years of financial and material chaos from Uranus, your heart is ready to explore in ways it hasn't been able to. You might find yourself drawn to creative projects that you'd normally think were too soft or not practical enough. Maybe you'll want to write poetry, or start painting, or just spend more time by water letting your mind wander. The Page of Cups doesn't rush, and that's the beautiful thing here. You're being invited to slow down emotionally, to be curious about your feelings rather than charging through them. I also see this card suggesting that someone might come into your life who embodies this Page energy, someone younger or just young at heart who helps you see the softer side of existence. This person could be a messenger, bringing you opportunities that are more about emotional fulfillment than material gain, which is going to feel really refreshing after the Uranus and Taurus years where everything was about shaking up your resources and security. The next card I pulled was the Seven of Wands, and okay, this makes so much sense given what you've been through. The Seven of Wands is about standing your ground, defending your position, feeling like you're fighting to maintain what you've built. And honestly, Aries, I think this card is acknowledging just how much you've had to fight during these Uranus and Taurus years. Uranus doesn't just gently shift things, it comes in like lightning and completely disrupts whatever house it's transiting. For you, that's been your second house of money, possessions, self-worth, values. You've had to defend your financial position, probably multiple times. You've had to stand up for what you believe in even when the ground kept shifting under your feet. You've had to maintain your sense of worth even when external circumstances were wildly unstable. The Seven of Wands shows someone on higher ground, holding their wand up against 6 others coming at them from below. You've been that person, Aries. You've been the one saying nitrogen monoxide, "This is my ground, these are my values, this is what I'm worth, and I'm not backing down even though everything around me is changing." What I love about seeing this card in this reading is that it's validation. The universe is acknowledging through the cards that yes, it has been a battle. Yes, you've had to work harder than you should have had to maintain stability. Yes, people or circumstances have challenged you at every turn. But here's the thing about the Seven of Wands that people sometimes miss. The figure in this card is winning. They're on higher ground. They have the advantage even though they're outnumbered. And that's you. You've maintained your position despite 8 years of Uranus doing its chaotic best to shake you loose. As Uranus moves on, I'm seeing that this defensive stance you've had to take can finally start to relax. You won't need to be in fight mode about your finances or your worth anymore. The challenges will shift to a different area of life, and while that might sound exhausting, what it actually means is that you get to put down your weapons in this particular battle. The Seven of Wands has given me chills honestly because I can feel how tired some of you Aries people are from having to constantly defend and prove and fight for basic stability. That fight is ending. You made it through. You held your ground and now you get to actually enjoy the higher position you've earned. Then I drew the moon and I literally got goosebumps because this card is so perfect for this transition moment. The moon is all about illusion, confusion, the subconscious, things that aren't quite what they seem, the journey through uncertainty to reach clarity. And I think what's happening here is that the cards are telling you that even though Uranus is leaving Taurus, there's going to be this period where things feel kind of murky and unclear. You know when you've been in chaos for so long that when things finally calm down, you almost don't trust it. That's the moon energy. You might find yourself questioning whether the stability that's emerging is real or if it's going to be yanked away again. The moon also represents the subconscious patterns that have been formed during this 8-year Uranus transit. You've developed certain habits around money and security, certain defensive mechanisms, certain ways of operating that were necessary during the chaos but might not serve you moving forward. The moon is illuminating these patterns so you can see them clearly. I'm also getting that some of you might experience really vivid dreams during this transition period. Dreams about money or about losing things or about being chased. Because your subconscious is processing 8 years of financial upheaval, the moon can be uncomfortable because it asks us to sit with uncertainty, to trust the process even when we can't see the full path ahead. But here's what I love about the moon in this context. It comes right before the sun in the tarot deck. It's the last darkness before dawn. So while you might feel confused or uncertain about what comes next now that this major transit is ending, you're actually in the process of moving toward clarity and joy. The moon is also deeply intuitive, and combined with that page of cups we saw earlier, I'm really seeing that you're being asked to trust your gut more than your logical mind right now. Your logical mind is still in survival mode from 8 years of Uranus disruption. But your intuition, your deeper knowing, that's what's going to guide you through this transition. Let yourself be okay with not having all the answers right now. Let yourself sit in the mystery for a bit. The moon is also about cycles, and it's reminding you that this ending is also a beginning. That life moves in cycles, and you're just completing one to start another. The fourth card that came through was the Ten of Swords, and okay, I know this looks scary at first glance because it's literally a figure with 10 swords in their back, but hear me out on this one. The Ten of Swords represents an ending that is complete. It's rock bottom, yes, but it's also the point where things can only get better because they literally cannot get worse. And in the context of Uranus leaving Taurus after 8 years, I think this card is saying that whatever pain or difficulty or loss you experienced during this transit, it's done. It's over. The cycle is complete. You're not going to be stabbed in the back by unexpected financial problems anymore. You're not going to wake up to another surprise disruption in your security. The Ten of Swords is the ending of endings, and while it looks brutal, there's actually something liberating about it. I also see this card as representing the death of old beliefs about money and worth that weren't serving you. Maybe you used to believe that security could only come from one source, and Uranus spent 8 years proving that wrong by disrupting that source. Maybe you thought your value was tied to specific achievements or possessions, and Uranus dismantled that belief system. The Ten of Swords is those old beliefs finally being completely released. What I find really interesting is that in the traditional imagery of this card, even though it looks dark and heavy, the sky on the horizon is starting to lighten. Dawn is coming. After the complete ending comes a fresh start. So for you Aries, this card is confirmation that whatever you went through during the Uranus and Taurus years, that chapter is closed. You don't have to keep looking over your shoulder waiting for the next financial bomb to drop. You don't have to keep bracing for impact. The swords are already in your back, the damage is already done, and now you get to pull them out and heal. Some of you might literally feel this as a sense of betrayal ending. Like maybe someone or something you counted on for security let you down during these years. And now you're finally accepting that betrayal and moving past it. The Ten of Swords gives permission to stop fighting and just let the old cycle die completely so the new one can begin. Next up I pulled the Sun, and I genuinely smiled when this card came out because wow, what a shift in energy from that Ten of Swords. The Sun is pure joy, clarity, success, vitality, everything coming into the light. This is the universe telling you that after 8 years of Uranus chaos in your resources sector, you're moving into a period of genuine happiness and abundance. The sun doesn't struggle or fight or defend. It just shines. And that's going to be your energy as you move forward from this Uranus transit. I'm seeing that opportunities are going to come to you that feel easy and joyful, which will be such a contrast to the constant effort required during the Uranus years. The sun is also about clarity and truth, so things that were confusing or uncertain during the moon phase are going to become crystal clear. You're going to understand why certain things had to fall apart, why certain securities had to be shaken, why you had to go through what you went through. And with that understanding comes peace and even gratitude. The sun is a child riding a horse, totally naked, completely free and unashamed. That's the energy available to you now. You can be authentically yourself without the armor you had to wear during the Uranus years. You can be vulnerable about your needs and desires or own security without fear that everything will be ripped away. The sun also suggests success in whatever you put your energy toward now. Projects that you start in this new phase are going to flourish. Relationships you build are going to be warm and genuine. Your sense of self-worth is going to shine from the inside out rather than being dependent on external validation or possessions. I also see the sun as suggesting that you might literally spend more time outdoors, more time in natural light, more time doing things that make you feel alive and vibrant. After years of heavy Saturn and Uranus energy, your soul is craving lightness and joy, and the sun is giving you permission to seek that out. This card is also telling me that whatever you've been building during the Uranus years, even though it felt chaotic and uncertain, is going to pay off in beautiful ways. The seeds you planted in shaky ground are going to bloom now that the soil is settling. Then I drew the Nine of Cups, and this is often called the wish fulfillment card. The card of emotional satisfaction and getting what you really want. I find it so beautiful that this came up in a reading about Uranus leaving your resources sector because what it's telling me is that you're going to finally get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. The Nine of Cups shows a figure sitting contentedly with 9 cups arranged behind them. They have what they want. They're satisfied. And for you, Aries, after 8 years of instability and having to constantly adjust and defend your financial position, this is showing me that you're entering a period where you actually get to enjoy your resources rather than just fighting to maintain them. The Nine of Cups is also about emotional fulfillment, and combined with that Page of Cups and the Sun, I'm really seeing a theme of joy and contentment emerging in this reading. You're not just going to be financially stable, you're going to feel good about it. You're going to feel proud of what you've built and maintained through the chaos. This card also suggests that wishes you've been holding onto during the Uranus years are finally going to manifest. Maybe you've been wishing for a certain level of financial freedom, or a particular kind of security, or the ability to enjoy life without constantly worrying about money. The Nine of Cups is saying those wishes are coming true. What I love about this card is that it's not about extravagant wealth or winning the lottery. It's about having enough and being deeply satisfied with it. It's about contentment. And after years of Uranus teaching you that security isn't about having everything nailed down but about being able to adapt and find value in unexpected places, this contentment is going to feel really authentic and stable. The Nine of Cups is also a very social card sometimes, suggesting celebration with others. So, I wouldn't be surprised if you find yourself in situations where you're celebrating your wins with people who genuinely care about you. The defensive isolation of the Seven of Wands is giving way to joyful connection. Some of you might also find that creative or emotional projects you've been working on during the Uranus years are finally getting recognition or bringing you satisfaction. The Nine of Cups is that feeling of why yes, this is exactly what I wanted, this is what makes me happy, and I get to have it. The 7th card I pulled was the Nine of Wands, and this one made me pause because it's another Wands card about defense and perseverance. But in a different way than the 7, the Nine of Wands shows someone who's been through battle, who's wounded but still standing, who's watching carefully for the next threat but is also almost at the finish line. And I think what this card is acknowledging is that even though Uranus is leaving Taurus, you might still be in a bit of a defensive mindset. You've been through so much that you can't quite believe it's really over. The Nine of Wands is that person who's been hurt before and is now hypervigilant, not quite trusting that peace is possible. And honestly, Aries, this is completely valid. 8 years of financial and material disruption is a long time. It makes sense that you'd be a little gun-shy, a little cautious, a little protective of what you've managed to build and maintain. The Nine of Wands is giving you permission to have those feelings while also gently suggesting that you can start to lower your guard just a bit. You don't have to be in survival mode anymore. Yes, be aware. Yes, use the wisdom you've gained from 8 years of unexpected challenges. But don't let the defensive crouch become your permanent posture. What I'm also seeing with this card is incredible resilience. The figure in the Nine of Wands has been knocked down 8 times and gotten up 9. That's you. That's what you've done during this Uranus transit. Every time something shifted or fell apart or surprised you, you adapted and kept going. The Nine of Wands is acknowledging that strength while also suggesting that the constant vigilance can now ease up. You've almost crossed the finish line of this particular challenge. The last wand is still standing strong even though the person is tired, which tells me that your core values and sense of self-worth have remained intact despite everything. You might be exhausted, you might have battle scars, but you're still you. The Nine of Wands often appears when we're close to completion but tempted to give up because we're so tired. Don't give up on yourself now, Aries. Don't give up on the possibility of stability and joy just because the road has been rough. You're so close to being able to rest and enjoy what you've fought so hard to maintain. The 8th card that came out was King of Wands, and I love this energy for you right now. The King of Wands is masterful, confident, charismatic, creative, and in complete control of their fire. This is mature masculine energy that knows how to channel passion and drive into successful outcomes. After seeing those defensive Wands cards, the 7 and the 9, the King of Wands is showing me that you're stepping into a leadership role in your own life. You've learned so much during these 8 Uranus years about adaptability, about innovation, about finding creative solutions to financial challenges. And now you get to use that mastery. The King of Wands doesn't doubt himself. He knows what he's capable of. And that's where you're heading, Aries. You're moving from fighting to maintain your position to confidently leading yourself into a new chapter. The King of Wands is also incredibly entrepreneurial and creative. I'm seeing that some of you might start new business ventures or creative projects that allow you to be your own authority. You've learned that traditional forms of security can be disrupted at any time, so why not create your own? The King has the vision and the energy to make big things happen, and after years of just trying to stay afloat, you're ready to actually build something intentional. This card is also about inspiration and being an inspiring force for others. You might find that your story of making it through 8 years of Uranus disruption becomes something that helps other people. The King of Wands is generous with his wisdom and encouragement. What I really feel with this card is that you're reclaiming your natural Aries fire. For 8 years, Uranus in Taurus has been dampening that fire with material concerns and security fears. But now, with Uranus moving on, your fire gets to burn bright again. You get to be bold, take risks, trust yourself, and move forward with confidence. The King of Wands is also telling me that any leadership opportunities that come your way during this new phase should be seriously considered. You have wisdom and experience now that you didn't have 8 years ago, and that combination of Aries courage with earned wisdom is incredibly powerful. Next, I pulled Strength, and this card is so significant for this moment in your journey. Strength is about inner power, courage, patience, and the ability to tame your own inner beasts through compassion rather than force. The traditional image shows a woman gently closing a lion's mouth. She's not wrestling the lion or dominating it, she's working with its energy. And I think this is exactly what you've had to learn during the Uranus and Taurus years. You couldn't force stability to happen. You couldn't muscle your way through the disruptions. You had to find a different kind of strength, one that was more about flexibility and inner resolve than external dominance. Strength is also about patience, and goodness knows you've needed patience during this transit. The slow, earthy energy of Taurus combined with the erratic energy of Uranus created this weird push-pull of having to wait while also dealing with sudden changes. But you did it. You found the inner strength to keep going even when things were uncertain. What I'm seeing now with this card is that you're being asked to continue using that gentle, patient strength as you transition into this new phase. Don't immediately go into aggressive action mode just because Uranus is leaving. Trust that you have the inner resources to handle whatever comes next without having to force outcomes. Strength is also connected to Leo energy, which is about creativity, joy, self-expression, and heart-centered living. This suggests to me that your strength moving forward is going to come from staying connected to what brings you joy and what makes your heart sing, rather than from grinding and pushing. The lion in the Strength card represents your passions, your desires, your raw power. And the message is that you don't have to suppress those things or fight against them. You can work with your natural drives and instincts while also applying wisdom and gentleness. For Aries, who can sometimes be all fire all the time, this is a beautiful reminder that true strength includes knowing when to push and when to pause. The final card I drew was the Chariot, and I actually laughed when I saw this because it's so perfect for where you're heading. The Chariot is card number 7 in the major arcana, and it's all about willpower, determination, moving forward with purpose, and achieving victory through focus and control. The traditional image shows a figure in a chariot being pulled by two sphinxes, one black and one white, representing opposing forces. But the chariot driver has mastered these forces and is directing them toward a clear goal. After 8 years of Uranus creating chaos in your resources sector, the chariot is saying you are back in the driver's seat. You get to decide where you're going now. The constant unexpected detours and roadblocks are clearing. Yes, you'll still have opposing forces to manage, that's just life. But you have the skill and the will to direct those forces rather than being tossed around by them. The chariot is also about momentum and moving forward quickly once you've got your direction clear. I'm seeing that once you make decisions about where you want to go next financially, materially, or in terms of your values, things are going to move fast. Aries energy loves this. You're a cardinal sign, you love to initiate and lead, and the chariot is giving you the green light to do exactly that. What I also love about the chariot showing up here is that it's associated with Cancer, which is all about home, security, and emotional safety. So, while you're moving forward with determination and purpose, there's also this underlying need to create emotional security and a sense of home base. This suggests to me that your goals moving forward are going to include creating that stable foundation you've been craving, but on your terms, in your way, with your values at the center. The chariot doesn't ask permission or wait for perfect conditions. It moves forward with confidence and determination. That's your energy now, Aries. You've done the defense, you've survived the chaos, you've learned the lessons. Now you get to actually go somewhere, to build something, to create the life you want rather than just trying to protect what you have. The chariot is victory, and after 8 years of Uranus challenges, you've absolutely earned this victorious energy. So let me just take a moment to reflect on this entire spread because the progression here is really beautiful. You started with the Page of Cups, this innocent, open, emotionally curious energy that's available to you now that the material chaos is settling. Then the Seven of Wands acknowledged the fight you've been in and validated how hard you've had to work just to maintain your ground. The Moon showed the uncertainty and the subconscious processing that comes with major transitions. The Ten of Swords marked the complete ending of that difficult cycle. The Sun brought clarity, joy, and the promise of easier times ahead. The Nine of Cups offered wish fulfillment and emotional satisfaction. The Nine of Wands acknowledged that you might still be feeling defensive but encouraged you to start relaxing that vigilance. The King of Wands showed you stepping into masterful, confident leadership of your own life. Strength reminded you that true power comes from working with your nature rather than against it. And finally, the Chariot gave you the green light to move forward with purpose and determination toward the life you actually want to create. The overall message I'm getting from these cards for Aries as Uranus leaves Taurus is this. You've been through a profound transformation in how you relate to money, possessions, security, and your sense of worth. It wasn't easy. It required you to defend your position, to stay strong through uncertainty, to let old beliefs die, and to find flexibility where you once thought rigidity was necessary. But you made it through. And now you're entering a phase where you get to actually enjoy the fruits of that hard-won wisdom. You get to be emotionally open in new ways. You get to experience joy and clarity. You get to see your wishes manifest. You get to lead yourself forward with confidence and strength. The defensive crouch can relax. The constant vigilance can ease. You're in the driver's seat now, and the road ahead is yours to choose. I want to acknowledge that transitions, even good ones, can feel weird and uncertain. You might not immediately trust that things are really getting better. You might still be waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's normal after 8 years of disruption. but the cards are really clear that you're moving into a much more stable, joyful, and self-directed phase. Trust your intuition. Trust the strength you've built. Trust that you can handle whatever comes next because you've already handled so much. And most importantly, give yourself permission to actually enjoy life again without constantly bracing for disaster. This is such an exciting time for you. Aries, the universe is giving you space to breathe, to create, to lead, to shine. Use it well. You've earned it. Okay, so let me count up the cards I used because I want to make sure I stayed within the guidelines. The cards were Page of Cups, 7 of Wands, the Moon, 10 of Swords, the Sun, 9 of Cups, 9 of Wands, King of Wands, Strength, and the Chariot. That's exactly 10 cards as required. Now for the word count. Let me tally this up properly because accuracy matters.